We are Ole Miss Rebels. As Mississippi's flagship university, we dig deeper, see farther, work harder. We pioneered human organ transplants. We helped prove Einstein's theory of gravitational waves. We are conducting life-changing research that solves the problems of today. We are Ole Miss, transforming lives and the world.
Hey, welcome to the POMcast with Stephen Willis. We're going to start in a few minutes, but I want to tell you to hit up our social sites, retweet, share, comment, like, do all of that stuff. It can only help us out and it'll make the show even better. But we're getting ready to give you a lot of good Ole Miss information, and I just thought I would tell you that because the POMcast is starting. Well, it's starting right now. Wait, no, that's a little early. It is starting right about now. All right, good morning on this, let's see, what is today? Is today Tuesday? Today's Tuesday. Hope everybody is having a great day. As always, the chat is open. Just wanted to let you know about that. Even if you can't see it, I can see it, and that's all that matters when it comes to a chat like that. But if you just comment in the live stream, whether YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, it will show up on my chat. It will all be aggregated into one feed, and we can have a lot of fun with that. So before we get started, I do want to tell you about Travel and Cruise World. The number is 1-800-330-7461. Again, that number is 1-800-330-7461. And what I'm trying to do and what I want to do with this sponsorship is everybody needs a vacation. We're about 18 months in at this point. Everybody needs to get away. So whether the attractions, the beach, all the stuff that you want to normally do in Central Florida, this will give you a local, on-the-ground idea of what's going on. Rule changes at different places. Masks are required at Disney inside, but not at Universal. So stuff like that is they can handle, and your vacation will not be ruined by some unfortunate surprise. So call Travel and Cruise World at 1-800-330-7461, or you can hit them online at travelandcruiseworld.com, travelandcruiseworld.com. Remember also, the parks are who pay the travel agents, not you. They can get you the same rate that is online. So utilize them as a resource. See Central Florida like a local. All right. Now, I also want to tell you, you can watch the show at The Stephen Willis or at Ole Positively. You can catch us on Facebook at facebook.com/POMcast. We're on YouTube at Positively Ole Miss. Subscribe. Hit the bell. You'll know not just what we're streaming, you'll know what we're streaming about. And, of course, you can follow us on Twitch at Positively Ole Miss, all one word. If audio is more of your thing, you can catch us at Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, and Pandora. We're also on several smaller podcatchers, but it would take all day to name them, and it's only a 30-minute show. So thank you very much again for joining us from the palatial Central Florida studio. I am Stephen Willis, and yesterday was the first day of class and no practice, so no real news broke yesterday. So today I'm going to talk about what you can expect in year two from the offense, from the defense. What can you expect after a full spring? All of these things will be available today. Also today, I want to talk about the alliance and what that exactly means and a way to get around it, honestly. I'm taking inspiration from McDonald's at this point. And, of course, we will introduce our game of the week for week 0. Normally, this would be an SEC game. Might be Ole Miss, might not be Ole Miss. But there are no Ole Miss games this week, so it's a outside the box pick. That'll be in segment 2. So thank you very much for joining us. We're having a good time today. We really are. And just a second. All right. And we do want to talk about some things that are going on at Ole Miss and in the offense and on the defense and all that good stuff. So I'll just bring in the Twitter feed real quick. So year 2 in the offense, they realized that last year was nowhere near doing what they really wanted to do because a lot of this offense is based on timing. If you want to go back to watch from the very beginning, boot camp the offense, me and Corey Burton broke down several offensive plays in year 1 and year 3 at FAU and how that looked differently and what you can expect from the offense. Well, I'm of the opinion that the offense is really going to look a lot different than even last year. They're going to do different things because so much of this offense is based off the timing of the jet sweep. And Elijah Moore, as good as he was not a jet sweep guy. They ran it some, they did some things, but he just wasn't that guy. That's somebody that John Rice Plumlee, I think he's going to thrive in that role. I think J.J. Henry is going to thrive in that role. And I think Ja'Cour Pearson, even though he is more of an Elijah Moore, is going to do really well in that role. Because the timing in the jet sweep basically takes everything off. It forces movement and false steps. And by false steps, I mean stepping to the right because you bit on the fake. All of a sudden, that's taking a half a second to get back and go the other direction. You're not fitting your gap. So that's really what a false step is. And the jet sweep is designed to make false steps. You're supposed to drag people a certain direction, many times away from the direction of the next read. Now, my favorite play in all of the Lane Kiffin playbook is the triple option. But it's not that triple option. Everybody thinks the triple option and they think it has to look one way. But that is not the case. The first option of this play is the jet sweep. The second option is you can pull from that jet sweep and give to the running back running an inside zone. Option 3 is the quarterback going out the other end. So you can see how this would torture linebackers. This whole offense is designed to torture linebackers. And you're forcing false steps and indecision. Basically, you want them to think. You want them to be slow. You want them to bust. That and the tempo and everything else is designed to put a ton of pressure on college athletes that only have 20 hours a week to really discuss what's going on, to practice it, to go on to the next thing. And that's important to know because that is the major aspect of this offense. This offense is designed to make the defense mess up. It's incredibly simple what they do offensively. It has to be to go as fast as they go. But it is designed to make the defense think and to mess up. And because they only have 20 hours of prep time, it's designed to destroy a game week. So within preparation of the game week, you can see that all of these things have to be put in for the defense in order to prepare for them. If they're not, that's going to be a problem. But there's only 20 hours in a week. And a service team period may only last 15 to 30 minutes twice a week. So you're looking at 30 minutes to an hour of actually on the field prep time. There's going to be meetings and things like that to where you can do head work, but there's actually not a lot of time. And this offense is so unique what they do. It's designed to torture those linebackers. And by torturing those linebackers, they come up to fit the run. All of a sudden, the space opens up behind them. They can't be right. And in year 2, you can pretty much take to the bank that this offense is going to look a little bit differently. It just is. It's going to be equally at a minimum as effective. It might be more so. But with people like Henry Parrish and Jerry and Ely and then the big guys on the outside, I'm looking for Braylon Brown to step out. I think he would have been a 5-star if this would have been a normal year to where you could look at recruiting and evaluate them over the course of the year, and there's several camps and opportunities and then games and then the all-star games to make. You take those away, he couldn't jump up. But I mean, he's a guy that was running 4.5, 4.6 on that very soft South Florida turf. Now he goes up to that hard stuff up there, and he's going to get a little quicker. His hands are already exceptional. He plays the position after watching him. He has a little bit of Dante Moncrief, a little bit of Laquan Treadwell. I think he's more of a Laquan Treadwell type impact on this team moving forward. So that's going to be a big thing. So if Jonathan Mingo doesn't step up, if Dontario Drummond doesn't step up, you got young guys like him and Brandon Buckhalter just nipping at the heels of what they can do. We've got a ton of receivers. In the slot, you got John Rice Plumlee, you got Ja'Cour Pearson, you got J.J. Henry battling for reps. Because remember, there's not a lot of substituting done on this offense. They can't, like I said. If you look at how fast they go, they can't do things like substitute. The offense cannot be overly complicated. It's not going to look like the Sean McVay system for the LA Rams. It's not. It's going to look closer to honestly what it looked like when Phil Longo was here, because they just pare down what they do. Now, 90% of the plays are that. 10% of those plays are shot plays designed to victimize a specific defense. And, you know, if you see them and they work out, like the third touchdown against Vanderbilt is one of those. That was my favorite touchdown last year. The 90-yard bomb against South Carolina, that's another shot play that was out there. And it's designed to give you the matchups that you need. Those will still be a part of the offense. That's not going to change. But now the other 90% will look like the minutia of what's going on. You see more jet sweeps. You see more inside zones. Remember, this team is a 60% run team. People forget about that because big plays happen in the pass game. But it's a 60% run team. And that's not going to change. If anything, this year it's going to be more because of Jerry and Ely and Henry Parrish and Snoop Connor. We are stacked in the backfield. So there's that. On the defensive side of the ball, year two is going to bring a continuity. You saw them over the course of the season get better and better and better. The first 3 games of last season was a disaster. I mean, it just was. And I told you exactly why I thought that happened. That's because of lack of spring, lack of fall camp, lack of film to make personnel decisions by coaches. All of a sudden, during the games that is happening, instead of scrimmage, you're making decisions based off those games, and you might have the wrong guys. You know, you make a guess with the wrong guys out there on the field. And, you know, as you can see, over the course of the year, it got better and better and better. I mean, there was a 10-game SEC schedule. There was no Austin Peay there. There was no Louisville. There was no Tulane to get right before Alabama. It was Florida, Kentucky, Alabama. Florida with Kyle Trask throwing the ball over the field to Kyle Pitts and his other guys, using the circus concept like crazy. And then you go to the run offense that Kentucky was running, what they were doing. It was a little bit different. Now, so it's about run fits and what's going on there. And then you go to Alabama, which was really the best of both worlds. And then after that, they started getting better and better and better and better. And by the Indiana game, they were fine. The only problem they had in the Indiana game was that they ran out of gas in the fourth quarter because there was only 12 or 13 of them. Maybe this year, you know, our goal is 22 players that can play on defense. 22 players. I expect by the Louisville game, that number this year to be at 16 or 17. That's not a hard expectation, and with the recruiting, 16 or 17. I expect by the end of the season that 22 to be filled, honestly. Too many players, too good of a signing class, too good on the back end, and replacing players up front. So that that is going on. So we are going to take a real short break. And when we come back, oh, that's the wrong one. When we come back, we will talk about the Alliance, and we will talk about the game of the week. So everybody stick around. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the POMcast. I'm, of course, your host, Stephen Willis. Hey, do me a favor. Yeah, 60% run to set up the big throw. That's a big part of the offense, guy. Thanks for watching. Do me a favor and join our Patreon. And the reason we are doing this is so that we can keep content like the POMcast, Beast of the East, Best of the West, SEC After Dark, all free. Those are going to remain free products by your generous contribution to our Patreon. Now, if you sign up, there's little things like Q&As and Reb calls and different things that you will get that will not be free. It's going to make it worth your while. And we're doing things like, let's see, positivelyolemiss.com. That's a thing now. You can see our website. It's going to be a nice little hub. We are creating a subreddit that you can go to from there and comment and see the videos and do the things. If Reddit is your thing, it's going to be available. And, you know, our Twitch is on there, our YouTube is on there, our Facebook is on there, and we have feeds of the videos and the audio, and all of that stuff. It's going to be a simple site, but it's going to be a hub, because basically what we want to do is stack all these social medias on themselves. And whichever one you like, that you prefer, you're going to be able to listen and watch the show on there, whether through a link or however we do it. That is going to be the plan moving forward. So we're going to have a lot of fun, but you know, we have the subreddit at Positively Ole Miss. You can get there from positivelyolemiss.com. You know, Facebook, we're all over that. We have a Facebook group that you can comment that works really a lot the same as a subreddit. So both of those will be there. We have our Facebook page, we have our YouTube page where videos actually go, and we have our Patreon, which you can go from our central hub as well for all the other stuff like the exclusive videos like Reb calls or an interview. I think this week we have an interview with the Junction blog, and next week we have Biscuits and SEC stopping by again to talk a little football. We're going to put those on the Patreon. That's what we're going to do. You're going to get them first access there, and then they'll be available later on in the week. So, I do want to talk about, sorry about the noise. The yard guy is cutting the yard at the moment, so if that goes in, so I apologize for that. He's right outside my window at the moment. So, the Alliance, the Big Ten, Pac-10, or Pac-12 and ACC Alliance. That's being announced today at 2 Eastern, 1 Central. Now, I think it's absolutely hilarious that it takes 41 teams to have as much mojo as the 16 in the SEC. I think it's absolutely hilarious that you can have as much mojo in the TV room with 16 teams as you can with 41. And this alliance is all about inventory. It's all about inventory. It wants USC versus Ohio State to make the TV contracts worth a little bit more money, worth a little bit moving forward that they can count on. And that's the reason they're doing this. And they also see it as an avenue to slow down the playoff, because they think the Pac-12, the Big Ten, and the ACC will be at an advantage over a 16-team SEC Super Conference as far as number of players. But the problem is going to be in that alliance when the problem with that alliance is going to be whenever you don't have that inventory to begin with, and the SEC is going to get, might be a 2-loss team getting in the playoffs, because that team is going to be better than the Pac-12, than the Big Ten, than the ACC, because of the wars they're having to go through in the day. That's just the way this works. But the second thing I talked about that they're trying to do is to slow down the bringing in of a 12-team playoff, slowing that down a little bit. And that would be huge, absolutely huge for the Big Ten, Pac-12, ACC, if that was the case, because of that 14 playoff and what that would mean. But here's my theory of how we could get around that. And I think that can happen relatively easily, and that is by recruiting and creating our similarly own alliance with the Sun Belt, Conference USA, American, which I hate to break it to everybody, those alliances are already there. But go get the MAC. Go get the Mountain West. Get the rest of the G5 that slowing down this playoff would actually cost them money. Now, nobody cares about those guys whenever they're thinking about what's going on, but those are going to be the votes that allow the expansion of this playoff. The Mountain West, the Mid-American, the Sun Belt, the Conference USA, the American. Those are going to be the conferences that determine whether or not this expands. If I name those 5 conferences, it's probably at 65 or 70 of the votes in there. So the 41 of the Big 10 in this thing just will not matter if you can treat it like McDonald's. Like Ray Kroc, when he built up McDonald's and was fighting with the creators at the beginning, basically figuring out how to do what he wanted to do with their idea, was about buying the property that the building actually sits on. Because before then, you were basically renting it and you put it up and everything going. But McDonald's realized, and Ray Kroc realized, that if you own that property, you have a little bit of power. And by having enough and accumulating enough of that power, you can force things to go a certain way. And the way this can work, the buying property like McDonald's did, it would be if you got those smaller conferences as an ally with the Super Conference, the SEC. Now, the thing that would absolutely break the bank, I don't think this is going to happen, but would absolutely break the bank, would be go ahead and expand to Conference USA, to the American, to the Sun Belt. Expand and take Baylor, take Oklahoma State, take Texas Tech, take Kansas, and have 20 teams up there. If you have 20 teams, and then have promotion and relegation through multiple divisions through college football. That would absolutely break the bank. Unlike anything out there. You could have TV deals, all the way from the bottom to the top, and it would generate interest like absolute crazy. Can you imagine Alabama in a relegation fight? Can you imagine what would happen then? Can you imagine LSU fighting to not go down to the American and then the next conference down, Conference USA and the Sun Belt? And they're all in the SEC. The SEC owns this whole thing. This whole big 60-team conference is an SEC conference. So it wouldn't be where you go to another conference. You're in the conference already. It'd just be divisions within that conference that you handle through playing. And here's the best part. You don't even have to schedule those guys. There's no Power 5 games moving forward. Your whole schedule is self-contained right there. Now, what we have now, this is the realism of what we have now. And that is we have the Power 5. We have, and by Power 5, I mean you have a Power 1. And you have a mediocre 3. You have a dead 1. And you have the Group of 5. That's how college football looks at the moment. Last year, you had a Power 5 and a Group of 5. But now you have all those different categories and it's becoming a niche thing. Now, the point is, no matter what they say today, it's not really going to matter. It just doesn't matter. The SEC needs to do what they do, and everything's going to be fine. Now, I do want to move on to the game of the week this week. The game of the week this week will be Nebraska and Illinois. It's in Champaign, 1 o'clock Eastern, noon Central, kickoff on Fox. Scott Frost in Nebraska, they're in a little bit of hot water. You got Brett Bielema coaching in the Big Ten again. I'm interested to see what that will look like. The line opened up with Nebraska taking a 9.5 point lead going into this. It opened at 9.5 points. It's down to 7 points, and that's per VegasInsider.com. So I'm looking forward to this game. I want to see how Burt looks in the Big Ten again. I want to see what's going on. I want to see if Nebraska can figure it out because they're doing a lot of stuff, and Scott Frost is doing things that Tom Osborne used to do. Now, that's not necessarily working to this point, but he's trying to develop that again. So we will see what that looks like in a game one. Last year's season, it was basically blown up in the Big Ten by COVID. They canceled their season. They brought it back. All of this stuff happened, and we'll see what it looks like. But I'm looking forward to seeing what Illinois looks like. Lovie Smith is gone. Brett Bielema in. Will it be the typical offense that he ran at Wisconsin? Will it be some of the same stuff that he ran at Arkansas? I don't know. He coached some D-line in New England while he was waiting. But I'm looking forward to seeing this game and what they look like. And for no other reason than we have college football this weekend. We can watch this game. We can enjoy this game. We can root for whoever we're going to root for. And just get ready for the next week. Next week, we're going to do a game of the week again. Hopefully by Tuesday. Just like today, but it'll be an SEC-centric game. So the SEC will be the game of the week. Next week, by the way, will probably be Clemson and Georgia. Just heads up. I mean, it's probably the game of the week. Although I am looking forward to Miami and Alabama. I do think there's many landmines in that game. I don't expect Miami to win, but they could win that game. Anyway, I'm going to give you a little bit of time back. Thank you very much for joining us today. And, we're having a good time. We're having a lot of fun. But thank you very much for joining us today, and we will catch you next time. Hotty toddy.